What's up, guys? So we are at the end of day 4, and this is going to be a new one for the camping world here. In the middle of this remodel, we're going to add a basement into this camper. So when we get done, basically, no, never mind. That's not right. I'm kidding. It's been a long day. We've got a solid day on the floor. We had some shop work that we had to get done. Took us off of it for several hours and jumped back on it. Noah was working in the shop, I was working on the camper, so we've kind of been bouncing back and forth. But about 2/3 of the floor is done. It's stripped out. We've got a pretty solid plan on how we're going to take this back. And we're going to release 2 videos. The first video talked about at the back of the camper here, where there are saw cuts and the frames literally in 3 pieces back here. There's actually another place where the heating vent is just inside the front door. These saw cuts are here as well, and I don't know if you can see that, but it's in pretty bad shape right here as well. Basically what I see on these floors is you don't have enough insulation here. The aluminum tubes are still open, so anytime you've got a big temperature differential, whether it's in the wintertime or even in the summertime, if it's cool inside and you've got moisture going back and forth, all of this glue in this whole floor, there probably wasn't 5 square feet of glue that was actually held onto the floor itself. And then when you get into it, there's a section right here in the middle. This was actually the only strong section of the floor. And interestingly enough, they just added 1 more tube. So I think if these things came out of the factory with 2 extra tubes running down here, I don't know that we'd ever have any issues here. Our plan is, I'm pretty sure we're going to stick with this, but we're still going back and forth a little bit. But we're going to add some aluminum angle to get rigidity into the floor, and then when we start going back with our underlayment and we build it back, we're not just relying on glue and a piece of 1/4-inch Luan to hold everything together. And then once we get to the top, that's when we're going to get into some surprises and stuff. But the surprises, I'm holding out, hoping you guys hit the subscribe button and keep following along. The surprise, not subscribe. Been a long day. It all goes around what you're seeing here, which is water damage. There was vinyl, just vinyl flooring on top of this, and this is where they screwed the kitchen in. And I'm sure you can imagine just one little spill in the kitchen, and it starts to get into the holes. Once it gets into the holes, now it's into the other side, and you can see here where all of this glue right through here released. There's a little bit held on right here, and then it released up here as well. All of the aluminum channel, there's like this right here, there's a strip about 1/4 inch wide where it held together. The rest of it's just gone. So when we put this back together, we're not going to rely on just glue to hold it all together. There'll be some aluminum structure in here. We'll weld all that in. We can weld here in the shop. We'll weld all that in. We'll put the insulation back in. We'll get the underlayment in. We're redoing a bunch of that. We'll take you along with the process. I don't need to get into it. Some of the other stuff that's going on, Jordan is out in the field. So he's going to not campgrounds, he's going to construction sites. I'm sure, and we live in the country, my wife Stacy and I do, and when you park a camper in a construction site, mice are running around. And all of these wires are laying out here, so we're actually going to take a little bit of time, run these wires through a PVC conduit so that the critters aren't up here and we don't want them chewing up things. So after talking with Jordan on Friday about his needs and wants, we shifted just a little bit of focus to more of a how do we get this thing, how do we get the critters away from this thing, and how do we seal it up good enough so that he can live in it as long as actually as possible. We had a guy in here earlier today, and he's like, why in the world don't we buy it? Why didn't he buy a new one? I think Jordan sees what we see. We're going to spend time, he's going to spend money, and it's a good amount of money, but it's nowhere near what a new one of these would cost. And when we are done, we're going to have things like a rigid floor. We're going to have things like our exposed wires are going to be in the conduit. We're going to have more insulation than the factory ever dreamed of putting in. We're going to have waterproof materials that it should last longer than I'm going to be around. We get into the roof, seal the roof up, and the number one killer of campers is water. So our shop focuses on water. That's the whole reason that we got into this in the first place. This construction stuff, it's really not that big a deal if you've got the tools. We talked about that on Friday. We got a forklift and we got a melon. And as we get busier, there's several other guys that want to come to work here. So it's just a matter of adding people and training them. This is not hard construction. It goes pretty quick once you get around it. It's just a matter of adding it back and doing it better than what they did at the factory. And I don't really need to try very hard to make the go back better than what the factory did. But anyway, that's the update for now. We're 2/3 of the way done with tearing the floor out. And we will get into the rest of this tomorrow, take the rest of the inside walls out, take the rest of the floor out. Once we're done with that, we're going to get some wiring done. We're going to get all the easy stuff so that we're not working underneath this while it's exposed. We'll get all the easy stuff done and then build back. So I'd like to be building back yet by the middle-ish of this week. So we'll see how it goes. But anyway, that's the update for now. We're going to get out of here on a Monday and give it a shot tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Later.